Hi, my dear children. Welcome to English video lessons 12th Standard English Unit 1. Unit 1 consists of one prose, one poem, and one non-detail. Now I am going to take you to the prose Two Gentlemen of Verona, written by A.J. Cronin. Let us see the title first. Two Gentlemen of Verona. Who is a gentleman? A gentleman is one who is sensitive and thoughtful towards the people around him. Here, two gentlemen of Verona. We are going to see about two gentlemen who lived in Verona. What is Verona? Verona is a city in Italy. This story takes place in Verona, which is a city in Italy. Next, we are going to see about the writer A.J. Cronin, Archibald Joseph Cronin. This beautiful story, Two Gentlemen of Verona, was written by Archibald Joseph Cronin. His period was 1896 to 1981. He was born in 1896 and died in 1981. He was a Scottish novelist, dramatist, and physician. He belonged to Scotland and he was a novelist, dramatist, and physician. Novelist means one who writes novels, dramatist, one who writes dramas, and physician is a doctor. A doctor by training. He was a trained doctor. Cronin was one of the most renowned storytellers of the 20th century. Cronin was one of the famous storytellers of the 20th century. Many of his stories have emerged from his medical career and are noted for their narrative skill, deep social conscience, and finely drawn characters. Many of his stories were created from his experience as a doctor, and they are noted for their narrative skill. And they are known for his beautiful narration, deep social conscience, deep social morality, and finely drawn characters. The beautiful fine characters presented by Archibald in his stories. Cronin's books were not only bestsellers, but some of them, such as The Citadel and The Keys of the Kingdom, were made into successful films and were adapted for radio and television. Cronin's books were sold very widely, and some of the books like The Citadel and The Keys of the Kingdom were chosen for successful films. They were made into successful films and they were adapted for radio and television, and they were chosen for serials in radio and television. His novella means a short novel or a long story. His novella Country Doctor was adapted for a long-running BBC radio and TV series. The novella Country Doctor was chosen for a long-running serial in BBC and television. BBC means British Broadcasting Corporation. British Broadcasting Corporation is a world service. We all know that BBC is known for the best news, pronunciation, and the accent and the slang. So the stories of A.J. Cronin were taken for TV series, BBC radio series, and successful films. Yes, let us get into the story Two Gentlemen of Verona. Here is a story about love, devotion, sacrifice, sincerity, and maturity displayed by two little boys in their actions to save the life of their sister who suffers from tuberculosis of the spine. This story is about love. Love means great affection we have on others. Devotion, respect and involvement. Sacrifice, giving up costly, valuable, priceless things for others' sake. Sincerity, true and trustworthy. And maturity, matured in nature and the character. The two little boys displayed love, devotion, sacrifice, sincerity, and maturity in their actions to save the life of their sister who was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. Here is the picture of the two boys and the picture of their sister. These two boys displayed these fine characters, the gentle characters, the noble characters in their actions to save the life of their sister who was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. Two Gentlemen of Verona is narrated by A.J. Cronin. The narrator of the story is A.J. Cronin. Let us read the story now. As we drove through the foothills of the Alps, two small boys stopped us on the outskirts of Verona. The narrator and his companion were driving through the foothills of the Alps. What is Alps? Alps is the greatest mountain range in Europe. It passes through 8 countries: Austria, France, Germany, Italy, Liechtenstein, Monaco, Slovenia, and Switzerland. Two small boys stopped them on the outskirts of Verona. Outskirts of Verona, borders of Verona. Verona, a city in Italy. They were selling wild strawberries. The two boys were selling wild strawberries. Strawberry, a kind of fruit. Don't buy, warned Luigi, our cautious driver. When the boys tried to sell the fruits to the narrator, the cautious driver, the careful driver, warned the narrator not to buy the fruits from these two boys. You will get much better fruit in Verona. He suggested that better quality fruits would be available in Verona. Besides these boys, this phrase shows that the driver was not interested to buy the fruits, especially from these boys. He shrugged his shoulders to convey his disapproval of their shabby appearance. Shrugged, raising and lowering the shoulder to convey the disapproval. Disapproval, not accepting. Shabby, poorly dressed. Since the boys were poorly dressed, the driver was not interested to buy the fruits from these two boys. Next paragraph is the description of the two boys. The narrator describes the two boys. One boy had on a worn jersey and cut off khaki pants. In these two boys, one boy was wearing worn jersey. Worn means worn out. It got damages here and there. And he was wearing cut off khaki pants. Cut off khaki pants. Cut off means the pant was not to his size. It was cut according to his size. The other, a shortened army tunic gathered in loose folds about his skinny frame. The other, a shortened army tunic gathered in loose folds about his skinny frame. The other boy was wearing a army tunic. Tunic means long and full. The boy got this dress from somewhere, from somebody. So it was very loose to his size. He gathered in loose folds around his waist. He gathered the dress around his waist in loose folds. He was lean and thin. Skinny frame means lean and thin. The boy was lean and thin. The dress was very loose to him. So he gathered the dress around his waist in loose folds. Yet gazing at the two little figures with their brown skins, tangled hair and dark earnest eyes, we felt ourselves strangely attracted. In spite of the strong approval from Luigi the driver, the narrator and his companion continued to gaze at those young boys. Somehow they were attracted to them. The boys were with their brown skins, uncombed hair and dark earnest eyes. My companion spoke to the boys, discovered that they were brothers. The narrator's companion talked to the boys and he came to know that they were brothers. Nicola, the elder, was 13. Jacopo, who barely came up to the door handle of the car, was nearly 12. The elder one was Nicola, who was 13 years old. Jacopo, who almost came to the door handle of the car, was 12. The narrator was so kind and helpful towards the boys now. So what he did, he bought the biggest basket of strawberries from the two boys. We bought their biggest basket and then set off towards the town. The biggest basket here tells us the narrator and his companion showed a good and helpful gesture towards the boys. They bought the biggest basket of fruits from these two boys and they set off towards the town. Set off towards the town, move towards the town. After buying the biggest basket of strawberries from the two boys, the narrator and his companion went to the town and there they stayed in a hotel. Next morning, coming out of our hotel, we saw our friends bent over shoeshine boxes beside the fountain in the public square doing brisk business. Next morning, when the narrator and his companion came out of their hotel, they saw the two boys bending over shoeshine boxes sitting beside the fountain in the public square. Public square means a common place for community gathering. Community gathering means public gathering. Doing brisk business. Doing brisk business here means the boys were polishing the shoes very fast and quickly. The narrator talks about the two young boys by addressing them as friends. This is another repeated good gesture of the narrator towards the boys. We watched for a few moments, then as trade slackened, we went over. This narrator and his companion were watching the two boys for a few moments. Then, as trade slackened, slackened means slow down or reduce. We went over. They went to the boys when the rush on their shoe sign area slowed down. They greeted us with friendly faces. The boys greeted them with friendly faces since they recalled that they were the same travelers who bought the biggest basket of strawberries the previous day. I thought you picked fruit for a living, I said. On seeing the boys polishing the shoes, the narrator said to the boys that he thought that they were selling only fruits for their livelihood. We do many things, sir, Nicola answered seriously. But Nicola answered seriously that they were doing many jobs, which means that one singular job or one source of income would not be sufficient for their need. He glanced at us hopefully. They were looking at the narrator and his companion hopefully, noticing their good act of kindness. Often we show visitors through the town to Juliet's tomb and other places of interest. The boys conveyed the narrator that they were taking the visitors, the tourists and the visitors, through the town, around the town, to many different places of interest like Juliet's tomb. What is Juliet's tomb? Juliet is a female character in Romeo and Juliet, written by William Shakespeare. Romeo and Juliet is a romantic tragedy written by William Shakespeare. In this play, Romeo is the main male character and Juliet is the main female character. They are the lovers in the story. They loved each other, they got married, but at the end, due to some problem, due to failure in their love, due to failure in their life, they committed suicide. The dead body of Juliet and Romeo were buried in Verona, and the place where the dead body of Juliet was buried is called Juliet's tomb. For some years, this place was maintained by the convent in Verona, but later this place was turned into a museum. So here, these two boys took the visitors to this Juliet's tomb museum. All right, I smiled, you take us along. The narrator also agreed and he asked the boys to take them around the town. As we made the rounds, my interest was again provoked by their remarkable demeanor. As we made the rounds, while they were going round the town, my interest was again provoked. His interest on the boys was increased, stimulated by their remarkable demeanor, by their different strange behavior. Demeanor means behavior. They were childish enough. The narrator understood that they were very much childish. And in many ways, quite artless. In many ways, they were quite artless. Artless means very innocent, harmless, and guileless. Jacopo was lively as a squirrel. Here, the narrator compared Jacopo to a squirrel because he was very active and lively like a squirrel. Nicola's smile was steady and engaging, whereas Nicola was little bit matured and he was steady, he was calm and quiet, and he was always walking very seriously. Yet in both these boyish faces, there was a seriousness which was far beyond their years. Even though the boys had childish faces, there was a seriousness in their eyes which was far beyond their ages. This tells us that they are burdened with a lot of responsibilities and face the harshness of life at such a young age. In the week which followed, we saw them frequently. In the following week, the narrator and his companion saw the two boys frequently, for they proved extremely useful to us because they were very much useful to them. If we wanted a pack of American cigarettes, seats for the opera, or the name of good restaurant, Nicola and Jacopo could be relied upon to satisfy our needs. If they wanted a pack of American cigarettes. Suppose the narrator and his companion wanted a pack of American cigarettes. If they wanted a packet of American cigarettes, seats for the opera, to hold the seats for the opera. Opera means dramatic performance, the place where the dramas are enacted. Or the name of good restaurants. Suppose they wanted to know the name of the good restaurants, Nicola and Jacopo could be relied upon to satisfy our needs. Nicola and Jacopo could immediately do that with satisfaction. say they could do all the work very satisfactorily to the narrator and his companion. We struck one most was their willingness. The striking thing was their willingness to work. The boys were ready to work at any time, whatever the nature of the work. During these summer days, under the hot sun, they shined shoes, sold fruits, hawked newspapers, conducted tourists round the town, and ran errands. In spite of these summer days, under the hot sun, they were shining the shoes, selling the fruits, hawked newspaper means selling the newspapers, calling loudly in the streets, conducted tourists, guiding the tourists around the town, and ran errands. Ran errands means doing small jobs. So this paragraph says very clearly the two boys were doing many different jobs like selling the fruits, polishing the shoes, selling the papers, guiding the tourists, working as guides, and doing small jobs to all the people in the town. This means that they were doing many jobs to earn money. Whatever the work, they were ready to do to earn money. One night, we came upon them in the windy and deserted square, resting on the stone pavement beneath the lights. This paragraph says that one night, after a long day, the narrator saw the boys resting on the stone pavement in the deserted square. Deserted means vacant and unoccupied. Stone pavement, sidewalk, under the lights, beneath the lights, under the lights. Niccolo sat upright, tired. Niccolo was sitting straight, but he was very tired. A bundle of unsold newspapers lay at his feet. A bundle of unsold newspapers were lying at his feet. Jacopo, his head resting upon his brother's shoulder, was asleep. Jacopo rested his head upon his brother's shoulders, and he was fast asleep. It was nearly midnight. "Why are you out so late, Nicola?" The narrator asked Nicola why he was out so late. "Waiting for the last bus from Padua." Nicola replied that he was waiting for the last bus from Padua. Padua means it was a town in Verona. "We shall sell all our papers when it comes in." He said that he was waiting there to sell all the remaining papers when the bus come there. "Must you work so hard? You both look rather tired." The narrator asked the boys whether they had to work this much hard because they look very tired. Nicola immediately answered he had absolutely no problem in working like this despite being tired. Next morning, when I went over to the fountain to have my shoes shined, I said, "Nicola, the way you and Jacopo work, you must earn quite a bit." Next morning, the narrator went to the fountain to have his shoes polished. When he saw Nicola, he asked Nicola, the way he and Jacopo worked definitely earned him a good amount. "You spend nothing on clothes, you eat little enough. When I see you have a meals, it's usually black bread and figs." He said to them that they were not spending any money on their clothes. They were wearing very simple and poor clothes. They were eating very simple food like black bread and figs. They were not enjoying the comfort of the life even though they earn a little amount. "Tell me, what do you do with your money?" He asked them what he was doing with their money. Because Nicola and Jacopo tried many jobs, they were doing many jobs, they were earning some amount, but they were not spending any amount on their dress, on their food, on their livelihood. So the narrator wanted to know what they were doing with their amount. He colored deeply under his sunburn and then grew pale. He looked to the ground. Initially, the question made him blush. The pink color on his face was so prominent that it was visible even under the sunburn. But the very next moment, he grew pale. He became dull. But he was not answering immediately. He looked to the ground. His face became pale and dull, as he got reminded of his miseries and problems which made him work so hard. You must be saving up to emigrate to America, I suggested. He looked at me sideways, spoke with an effort. The narrator sarcastically asked if he was saving up to move to America, whether he was saving the amount for migrating to America. Emigrate means moving from one country to another country. On being asked about his plans, he got uncomfortable and was reluctant to answer. He did not want to share his problems with anyone. Here, Nicola looked very quiet. He was not willing to speak with his narrator about his future plans. Nicola said to the writer, "We should greatly like to go to the States, but here at present we have other plans." Nicola informed the narrator that he too liked to go to America, he too liked to go to the States, but he had some other plans in Verona. What plans? He smiled uncomfortably. Just a plan, sir, he answered in a low voice. The narrator asked him what plans he had in Verona, but Nicola was not willing to share his plans with the narrator, so he smiled and said, "Just a plan, sir." He just informed the narrator that he had got some plans in Verona. That's all he wanted to share with the narrator. "Well," I said, "we are leaving on Monday. Is there anything I can do for you before we go?" The narrator informed the boys that he was leaving the town on Monday. He asked the boys whether there was anything that he could do for them before they leave the town. Another good gesture by narrator, as he wanted to help the premature gentleman here. Nicola shook his head, but there was a mild refusal with Nicola. But suddenly Jacopo said, "Sir," he burst out, "every Sunday we make a visit to the country to Polito, 30 kilometers from here." Jacopo informed the narrator that every Sunday they were making a visit to the country to Polito, which is 30 kilometers from this place. Every Sunday, Nicola and Jacopo were going to Polito, which is 30 kilometers from this place. Usually, we hire bicycles. Normally, these two boys hired bicycles and they went to Polito. But tomorrow, since you are so kind, you might send us in your car. Here, Jacopo asked this narrator whether he could take them to Polito in his car since he was so kind. In this paragraph, we can see one is showing maturity while the other is showing innocent and childishness. Here, Nicola is matured and Jacopo is childish. I had already told Luigi he might have the Sunday off. The narrator informed Luigi not to come on Sunday, that he could have his off on Sunday. However, I answered, "I'll drive you out myself." The narrator agreed, though the driver was unavailable on Sunday. He agreed to take the boys to Polito. There was a pause. Nicola was glaring at his young brother in vexation. Nicola gave an angry look at Jacopo. He asked the narrator not to worry about them. "We could not think of troubling you, sir. It won't be any trouble." So Nicola refused the help from the narrator. So he asked the narrator not worry about them. It won't be any trouble, but the narrator insisted. He bit his lip, then in rather put out tone, he said, "Very well." Nicola was not comfortable with this plan, as he did not like taking help and sympathy, but he agreed to go with the narrator to Polito. Let us move to the next paragraph. The following afternoon, we drove to the tiny village set high upon the hillside. The next afternoon, they went to the tiny village that was located on the hillside. I imagined that our destinations would be some humble dwellings. The narrator thought that their reaching point, destination means reaching point, would be some humble dwellings. Humble dwelling means some simple living area, some poor living area or some simple living area. But directed by Jacopo, we drew up at a large red-roofed villa surrounded by a high stone wall. But he was directed by Jacopo to stop at a large red-roofed villa that was surrounded by high stone wall. I could scarcely believe my eyes, and before I could recover breath, my two passengers had leaped from the car. He could not believe his eyes. The narrator could not believe his eyes. Before he could get back his breath, the two passengers here are Nicola and Jacopo, had leaped from the car. Jumped out of the car. We shall not be long, sir. Perhaps only an hour. The two boys informed the narrator that they could take only 1 hour. They won't take much time. Maybe you would like to go to the cafe in the village for a drink. He asked the narrator that he could go to some cafe in the village for a drink. They disappeared beyond the corner of the wall. Immediately after saying this, the two boys disappeared at the corner of the wall. After a few minutes, I followed. I found a grilled side entrance and determinedly rang the bell. After a few minutes, the narrator followed the boys. I found a grilled side entrance. He saw a side entrance which was grilled and determinedly rang the bell. And he, with a strong mind of knowing about the boys, he rang the bell. A pleasant-looking woman with steel-rimmed spectacles appeared. When he rang the bell, a pleasant-looking woman opened the door. She was with steel-rimmed spectacles. I blinked as I saw that she was dressed in the white uniform of a trained nurse. The narrator blinked at her because she saw there a woman in white uniform, and he understood that she was a trained nurse. I just brought 2 small boys. Ah, yes, her face lit up. She opened the door to admit me. Nicola and Jacopo, I will take you up. The narrator informed the nurse that he had brought the 2 small boys, and the nurse also understood that he brought the 2 boys, Nicola and Jacopo, and she admitted the narrator inside the room, and she informed the narrator that she would take the narrator to the boys. She led me through a cool tiled vestibule into the hospital. She led the narrator into a lobby. Vestibule means lobby. Into the hospital. For hospital, the villa had become. This hospital was not completely constructed for a hospital. It was a villa which had become a hospital. At the door of a little cubicle, the nurse passed. At the door of a little cubicle means at the door of the small room, the nurse passed. She stopped, put her finger to her lips, and with a smile bade me look through the glass partition. Put her finger to her lips. She signaled the narrator to be quiet. Then, with a smile, bade me look through the glass partition. With a smile, she asked the narrator to look through the glass partition. There was a partition between the cubicle and the vestibule. Vestibule means lobby, cubicle means room. So, there was a glass partition, glass door between the vestibule and the cubicle. And she wanted the narrator to look through the glass partition at the cubicle. What did the narrator see in the cubicle through the glass partition? The 2 boys were seated at the bedside of a girl of about 20 who propped upon pillows. Wearing a pretty lace jacket, was listening to their chatter, her eyes soft and tender. The 2 boys, Nicola and Jacopo, were sitting at the bedside of a girl who was 20 years old and was supported with the pillows all around her to sit comfortably. She was wearing a pretty lace jacket and she was listening to their chatter. Chatter means cheerful conversation. Pretty lace jacket means beautiful dress. Her eyes soft and tender. She looked fragile and weak. One could see at a glance her resemblance to her brothers. One could understand in one glance that she was their sister because she resembled them well. A vase of wild flowers stood on a table beside a dish of fruit and several books. There was a vase of wild flowers, which was not actually essential for living, but this tells us how much she was loved by her brothers. There was a dish of fruit and books, which tells us that how well those 2 gentlemen took care of their sister. She was living in no shortage, which in contrary to how those boys live their life. They lived poorly, but they gave all comforts to their sister by working hard in the town. It is now understood very clearly that these 2 boys were visiting their sister who was in Polita. Won't you go in? The nurse murmured. Lucia will be pleased to see you. The nurse asked the narrator whether he was not going inside. She informed the narrator, Lucia, the girl will be happy to see him. I shook my head and turned away. The narrator refused to go in. I felt I could not bear to intrude upon this happy family party. The narrator thought that he should not disturb. Intrude means disturb. He should not disturb the family time. But at the foot of the staircase, I drew up and begged her to tell me all she knew about these boys. But now the narrator started respecting these two boys, so he wanted the nurse to say all about these two boys. He stopped at the staircase and he requested the nurse to say all about these two boys. She was eager to do so. Even the nurse also was eager to say about these two boys. They were, she explained, quite alone in the world except for this sister Lucia. She informed the narrator the two boys were living only for their sister Lucia. Their father, a widower, a well-known singer. She said about their father. Their father was a widower and he was a well-known singer. Had been killed in the early part of the war. But he had been killed in the war between Italy and Germany. Shortly afterward, a bomb had destroyed their home and thrown the three children into the streets. After the death of their father, the three children were living in a house, but even this house was also destroyed by the Germans with a bomb. They had always known a comfortable and cultured life. These three children had known comfortable and cultured life. Lucia had herself been training as a singer. At that time, Lucia had been training herself as a singer like her father. And they had suffered horribly from near starvation and exposure to the cold winter. Because of the war, the people of Italy suffered a lot. Even these three children also suffered very terribly, very horribly from near starvation. Starvation means hunger and exposure to the cold winter. For months, they had barely kept themselves alive in a sort of shelter they built with their own hands amidst the rubble. They lived in a shelter made of broken bricks. It was made with their own hands. Rubble means broken bricks. Then for 3 years the Germans ruled the city. For 3 years the Germans ruled the city. The boys grew to hate the Germans. The boys started to hate the Germans. When the resistance movement began secretly to form, they were among the first to join. They thought war and the Germans were the reason for their miserable life, so they hated the Germans. But when the resistance movement started very secretly, these two boys were the first to join the movement and rose against the Germans. When the war was over and we had peace at last, when the war was over, there was a peace in the country. They came back to their beloved sister. At last, the two boys came back to their beloved sister. But there was a shock waiting for them, and they found her suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. When they came back to their sister, they came to know that their sister was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine. This was another shock to these two boys. What is tuberculosis of the spine? It is tuberculosis in the vertebral joints. TB in the vertebral joints of the spinal cord. The two boys, Niccolo and Jacopo, came to know that their sister Lucia was suffering from tuberculosis of the spine and she was in need of an immediate treatment. She paused, took a quick breath. Did they give up? I do not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. The nurse stopped, then she took a small breath. Then after taking a short breath, she continued to say about the boys. Did they give up? I do not have to answer that question. They brought her here, persuaded us to take her into the hospital. She informed the narrator, in spite of facing many problems in their life, the two boys did not lose their hope. They brought her there, asked them to take her into the hospital. The positive approach of the brothers to get their sister cured had helped the staff treated her well. In the 12 months she has been our patient, she has made good progress. In the 12 months, she became their patient and she had made good progress in her health. There is every hope that one day she will walk and sing again. The girl had a hope that one day she would be recovered from the disease, she would walk and sing again. Of course, everything is so difficult now, food so scarce and dear. We would not keep going unless we charged a fee. In this paragraph, the nurse explained the helpless condition of the hospital, that there is less availability of food, therefore, they could not treat it for free and they had charged a fee to keep things going. Because of the impact of the war, the things were costly and food was in scarce. Hence, they could not give free treatment, so they charged a fee. But every week, Lucia's brothers have made their payment. But to their surprise, Lucia's brothers Niccolo and Jacopo made their payment without fail. She added simply, I don't know what they do. I do not ask. Work is scarce in Verona, but whatever it is, I know they do it well. She did not ask them what they were doing, how they were paying, because work is less available in Verona. But she knew that whatever it is, they would do it well. She had the confidence on the boys that they would do it whatever the work is. Yes, I agreed. They couldn't do it better. Even narrator agreed, as he actually knew that the boys really work hard to get the money for their sister's treatment. The narrator was touched by the love and devotion with which the boys work for their sister. After knowing about the boys, the narrator came out of the hospital and he was waiting for the boys to rejoin him. I waited outside until the boys rejoined me and then drew them back to the city. The boys came back and they joined the narrator. They all went back to the town. They sat beside me, not speaking. The boys were silent. They did not say anything about their visit to the country. They thought that the narrator did not know anything about them and their sister. They thought that they maintained the secret well. For my part, I did not say a word. I knew that they would prefer to feel that they had safely kept their secret. Yet their devotion had touched me deeply. Even the narrator did not say anything. The narrator understood their character really well and he knew that they won't like being sympathized. Therefore, he didn't reveal the boys that he knew about them. In all the ways, the narrator was touched by the love and devotion of the boys towards their sister. War had not broken their spirit. The war had broken their life, but it had not broken their spirit. Their selfless action brought a new nobility to human life, gave promise of the greater hope for human society. Despite all the negativity in the world like war, hatred, jealous, rivalry and selfishness, the boys' attitude indicated that goodness still persists in some souls. It indicates that there is scope for the world to become a better place to live one day. The real gentlemen in this story are these two boys who have the noble qualities like love and devotion to their sister, sincerity in their work, sacrificing their comforts for their sister, and loyal in all their actions and all their work. According to the narrator, A.J. Cronin, the real heroes of this story are these two boys, Niccolo and Jacopo, who are the real role models to new generation and the younger generation. Thank you. Please go through the 2 slides of glossary, the meaning of the hard words in the lesson.